Hi everyone, this is Dr. Nitin Chhoda with Ignition Time and welcome to my channel. In a brand new interview today, the White House trade advisor Peter Navarro held an interview where he talked about the upcoming stimulus cliff, where he talked about a chasm that we are looking down from because the economy is in a very, very precarious state. The effects of the stimulus are wearing off. The effects of all the stimulus so far are wearing off. That is the first problem. And the second problem is that throughout the country, we are potentially looking at a second wave of lockdowns. This creates a problem that necessitates stimulus now because Congress has to act now. The House and the Senate have to come together. Now, Peter Navarro did point out some interesting things that are essentially positive signs about the economy, about home sales, about consumption, about the stock market. But here's the interesting thing. At the end of the day, for us, for my viewers and subscribers watching, it's about putting food on the table. It's about paying rent. It's about keeping the lights on. Let's hear some of these interesting comments from the White House trade advisor, Peter Navarro, about where the economy is now, what the good news is, and what the bad news is. And he did push for more paycheck protection program money because he did mention that if small businesses go out of business, they can't come back because they don't have deep pockets. They don't have a lot of financial backing. They don't have a lot of leverage. They don't have savings. They don't have access to lines of credit like large businesses do. He did talk about the importance of stimulus checks, and he did say that there was a need to extend unemployment benefits insurance. Let's take a look at the White House trade advisor, Peter Navarro. He was interviewed today on Fox. Let's roll the tape and let's watch.
Here's the good news. Q2 consumption was off the charts, 40%, never seen it in history. We've got really strong home sales, both existing and new home sales. Durable goods, our core capital goods, off the charts. That means manufacturing strong. And the GDP revision held firm at 33% without any signs of inflation, so we don't have to worry about that. Now, here's the bad news. As you said, unemployment insurance claims are up. Bad. Personal income is going down. Now, you put those two things together and you ask yourself, why is that happening? And here's the problem. If you look at kind of the trajectory of the three phases of stimulus and relief, it looks like a mountain, right? We peaked some months ago, and what we're doing is all of infusions of cash into the economy have been going down like this. So we have what I call a second derivative problem. The first derivative is things are improving, but the second derivative is they're doing it at a slower rate. What does that mean? It means, Molly, that we are facing a chasm that we are likely to go into unless we act now. Now, what do we have to do? I understand that the folks on Capitol Hill can't get along and they like to argue, but there's three things they need to agree on.
Yeah, they haven't worked too quickly. That new stimulus aid that people have been looking for.
We need a top up on the PPP, the small business loans. That was extremely successful, keeping businesses employed. If you lose a small business, they ain't coming back. We need to save those. We need another relief check for stimulus to families, like the $1,200 check, and we need a reboot on our unemployment compensation, Molly. If you do those three things, we've got a chance of bridging. This is a fiscal bridge to when
I know there are a lot of
President Trump's
people that would like to
vaccines come
see
in.
that bridge come through.
Now, here's something interesting. While one part of our economy, while one part of our population is struggling, individuals in travel, leisure, entertainment, and hospitality have lost their jobs, in many cases permanently. Long-term unemployment is rising. There are other individuals who are doing well. If you have money in the stock market, you're probably pretty happy right now, even though the market has cooled off a little bit today. Yesterday, the market hit 30,000. In fact, you see this article on your screen from the Wall Street Journal, and the article says the Dow hits 30,000, another sign of economic resilience amid the pandemic. And in fact, the article says, and I'm actually going to quote from the article, and by the way, we'll provide you with a link to the article and all of our resources in the description section below. The article says, the American economy is a wonderful engine of prosperity left to its own devices. And on Tuesday, it proved this again with another surge in equity prices that pushed the Dow Jones Industrial Average above 30,000 for the first time. Stock prices rise and fall, but this symbolic milestone of optimism for the future shows the economic resilience despite the COVID-19 plague. So let me know what you think about this, because this is essentially the Wall Street Journal saying, hey, we're doing well because the stock market is rising despite all the problems that are facing our country. Here's another quote from the article. Meanwhile, overall US growth continues to surprise for the better. The housing market is booming and consumer and small business confidence are strong. The unemployment rate is down to 9% and continuing jobless claims fell another 429,000 in last week's report. Americans have enormous savings they can deploy, which explains why consumers keep spending despite the pandemic. Auto sales have been strong, no doubt in part because people are flying less and aren't taking the usual vacation. So I want to ask my viewers and subscribers, do you agree with this Wall Street Journal article? Do you agree that essentially the American economy should be left to its own devices? In fact, what is the consequence of this kind of approach? Peter Navarro was actually asked this by Fox. Let's listen to his response. He did point out that there needs to be more stimulus for two reasons. Number one, the effect of the first 3 rounds of stimulus are starting to wear off. And number two, we are starting to face second lockdowns in states across the country because this pandemic is surging across the country. Now, as you might expect, he did say that the reason the economy is resilient is because of the policies of the Trump administration. He also said something that was very interesting, which is that he was anticipating a second Trump term. He did say that. I want you to watch this segment for yourself and be the judge and let me know what you think of this push for stimulus from the White House trade advisor, Peter Navarro, today on Fox. Let's roll the tape.
So resilience, that sounds wonderful, and for folks that have some money in the stock market could be good news for them. But what does it mean for those folks that are out of work right now? When you see these great numbers, something to celebrate, talking about the power of our economy possibly bouncing back. We do have the vaccine. Potentially folks might be getting it a few weeks from now. I mean, do those things tie together for a much better January, February, March, April, something to look forward to post-holiday?
Let's first understand the source of the resilience. It's basically the 5 points of the Trump administration's policy compass. And you got like the tax cuts, the deregulation, the fair trade. You've got strategic energy dominance, and you've got strong defense spending. Now, I'm fully anticipating a second Trump term. But if you have a flip of any or all 5 of those, all of that resilience goes away, number one. And number two, as I laid out just earlier here, we are facing a chasm here because of the fiscal stimulus and relief packages going down, and we're entering a lockdown, Molly, a second wave of this lockdown. And those twin forces are going to really hit us in a way that unless Capitol Hill gets its act together and steps into that breach, to mix metaphors there, we're going to have an issue. So this is what the forecast looks like. So on this day, let's be clear what Capitol Hill has been informed of. There's trouble ahead. They need to act now. They can't wait until millions more Americans fall into that chasm and won't be able to get out. You look, Molly, you lose small businesses, you lose them forever.
That's it, everybody. Let me know what you think of Peter Navarro's interesting comments in the comment section below. You'll find a link to all our resources, including this rather interesting article from the Wall Street Journal in the description section below. That's it, everybody. Thank you so much for watching. I hope you learned something new from this video. My name is Dr. Chhoda with Ignition Time. This is some information about me. If you're new to our channel, I really appreciate you watching. If you learned something new, please consider gently igniting that like button because the name of our channel is Ignition Time. Please click subscribe and enable notifications so you can become a part of our community going forward. We release videos at 2 p.m. East Coast time. That's 2 p.m. East Coast time on most days of the week. Get your cell phone out, send a text message with the word ignition or with the word time to 70,000, that's 70000, and you'll get added to SMS alerts list going forward. If you want, you can also get added to our email list. Simply go to ignitiontime.com/alerts. That's ignitiontime.com/alerts, and you'll get added to our email list going forward. So definitely become a part of our email list or our SMS list, and you can opt out of either the text messages or the emails at any point in time that you want. Now, sometimes YouTube does not always send out notifications on time, so there's a very simple solution. All you have to do is simply bookmark youtube.com/ignition time. That's youtube.com/ignition time. This way you'll be able to visit the home page of our channel anytime you want and watch the videos anytime you want, so you're not dependent on YouTube notifications. Speaking of notifications, make sure to follow us on Instagram. Our Instagram handle is ignition_time. Become a part of our Instagram community, which is growing very, very rapidly, and you can get exclusive content from us on Instagram. You can also follow us on Twitter. Our Twitter handle is also ignition_time. You will get real-time breaking news alerts on Twitter. You'll get them instantly as the news happens. So definitely follow us on Twitter and engage with us on Twitter. As always, if you learned something new from this video, please consider clicking the like button. Please subscribe, please enable notifications. Please also share this video with friends and family because that would be your vote of confidence in us and all the effort that goes into this channel behind the scenes. That tells a YouTube algorithm you found this content helpful. You'll always get the links to all of our resources in the description section below. below. We always do that. And finally, and most importantly, please comment below and engage with our community. I'm proud of our community because our community is growing, it's respectful, it's bipartisan, it's intelligent, and you can engage in a healthy debate with your fellow citizens. Thank you so much for watching. I'm looking forward to seeing you in the next episode of Ignition Time. I'll talk to you soon. Bye.